New Jersey is a state in which you can drive 40 minutes and go from meeting a guy in a lifted truck with a very strong opinion about his neighbor's property line to a finance bro paying $4,000 a month for a studio with a partial view of a building he will never be rich enough to walk into. This is the same state. And every single region is dead certain that it is the real Jersey and everyone else is faking it. So let's go top to bottom and figure out what every part of this beautiful, deranged state is actually like. Let's start in the top left corner, the part of New Jersey that New Jersey forgot existed, Sussex and Warren counties. This is where people genuinely believe they live in the country, and the unsettling part is they're right. Mountains, dirt roads, bear sightings that get posted to Facebook like they spotted a celebrity. Half the county is retired hippies growing tomatoes and probably something else. The other half is guys in Carhartt with 3 trucks in the yard and only one that runs. These are people who will tell you they're from Jersey and then admit they've been to the shore maybe twice. The ocean is a foreign country to them. They went to Action Park as kids, survived it, and now carry that trauma around like a varsity letter. The cultural center of town is a Dunkin' attached to a gas station. And the biggest event of the year is when the one good bar gets a new TV. They love it up here. They'll fight you about it. Just don't bring up the Bears. Slide south and east and you hit the commuter belt, the arc of suburbs that exists for exactly one reason: to feed warm bodies into New York City every morning and return them slightly more dead every night. These are people whose entire personality is the 742 to Penn Station. They'll tell you about their commute the way a veteran tells war stories. They moved out here for space and a yard, and now they spend 4 hours a day on NJ Transit watching the Midtown Direct get canceled in real time. Parsippany is office parks, and an Applebee's having a quiet breakdown. Lake Hopatcong is where they keep the boat they use twice a summer. The dad falls asleep on the train, blows past his stop, and wakes up in Dover wondering where his life went. Gorgeous towns, beautiful houses, but nobody's ever home to enjoy them. Up in Bergen County, we've got the rich, conservative heartland, where the lawns are striped, the cars are German, and every single person is genuinely furious about their property taxes while sitting in a house worth 7 figures. These are the kind of households that spend tens of thousands of dollars annually between youth travel sports and cosmetic surgery. The moms in Denali's and Escalades doing 40 miles an hour through school zones own this entire region. They still have blue laws in Bergen County, which means you cannot shop on a Sunday, which they are weirdly proud of, like it's a personality trait and not a 1950s ordinance nobody bothered to update. They are convinced they're not pretentious, which is the single most pretentious thing a person can believe. These towns all think they're charming little villages. They're not. They're J. Crew catalogs that happen to have a train station. Then you've got the most urban part of Jersey, the strip facing Manhattan that's having the most expensive identity crisis in the state. Hoboken is 1 square mile of finance guys who peaked in their fraternity and never emotionally left the building. Frank Sinatra was born here, and they will not let you forget it for 1 consecutive second. Washington Street is bars, baby strollers, and more bars sharing the same sidewalk. So you've got a bachelorette party screaming next to a guy trying to get his newborn to nap. Jersey City is half luxury high-rise and half do not walk there at night. And the residents of those high-rises have collectively decided it's basically Brooklyn now, which is a thing only people paying Brooklyn prices say to make themselves feel better. And then there's Bayonne, holding the line, refusing to gentrify out of pure spite. Working class down to the bone, staring at Hoboken across the water going, "You used to be one of us." Next up, the industrial belt of Jersey, home to toxic waste and 1.5 million immigrants. This also happens to be the part of Jersey that smells. You know the smell. Right around exits 12 and 13, near Linden, Elizabeth, and Carteret, where the refineries glow at night like a Blade Runner set and the air develops a flavor. This is the opening credits of The Sopranos. This is the New Jersey the rest of America pictures in its head. And it's also one of the most diverse stretches of land in the country. Oak Tree Road in Edison might be the closest you can get to Mumbai without changing continents. In Carteret, you've got Polish delis next to active chemical plants, and somehow it all works. This is a place where you learn to breathe through your mouth on the Turnpike and never speak of it again. Essex County is anchored by Newark, a city 10 million people fly into every year and sprint out of like it's on fire. Nobody has ever landed at Newark Airport, breathed in that signature blend of jet fuel and despair, and thought, you know what? Let me build a life here. The Ironbound's the one neighborhood everybody agrees is great, full of radizio joints where a sweating man brings you a sword of meat and sangria served in containers that should require a fishing license. You walk out 9 pounds heavier, owing a guy named Carlos a tip and a small apology. Then you've got Maplewood and South Orange, where Brooklyn couples who got priced out moved in, kept every single one of their opinions, and now host a podcast about authenticity from a 4-bedroom Victorian. They'll tell you it's like Brooklyn, but with parking, because every gentrifier in this state is legally required to invoke Brooklyn within 90 seconds of meeting you, like it's a hostage code. Their kid's name is a piece of furniture, and their lawn sign has more demands than a union contract. And then East Orange, Irvington, Bloomfield, Belleville, all sitting there in various stages of quietly turning into whatever the people fleeing the last neighborhood can currently afford. Out west, just south of the hill people, you've got the part of Jersey where rich people like to cosplay as farmers, aka most of Hunterdon County. This is technically the wealthiest part of New Jersey per average household income. The kind of place populated with folks who bought 40 acres, parked 2 goats, and 1 deeply confused alpaca on it, and now claim the agricultural tax break like they're personally feeding the nation. The Barber jacket comes out. The Range Rover has mud on it, even though it has never once touched an actual trail. There's a horse on the property purely for tax purposes that nobody has ever ridden because no one actually knows how. Flemington's got antique shops, wineries are everywhere, and everyone out here is getting back to the country while having their groceries delivered. It is also the single most expensive way to pretend you're poor that money can buy. Then there's New Jersey's college town, New Brunswick, which is 2 completely different cities crammed into 1 zip code. There's the immigrant New Brunswick, and then there's Rutgers, New Brunswick, where 40,000 students treat the place like a permanent spring break with a meal plan. The grease trucks down here invented the fat sandwich, which is a hoagie containing an entire diner, cheesesteak and mozzarella sticks and fries and chicken fingers, all in one roll, designed by drunk people for drunk people. Easton Avenue at 2 a.m. is a humanitarian situation. "Are you screw" isn't a complaint, it's basically the school motto. On football Saturdays, the whole town just braces for impact, even though Rutgers is the team the rest of the Big Ten looks forward to on the schedule as the easy game. It's chaotic, it's beautiful, and the actual residents have made a quiet peace with the fact that their town belongs to 19-year-olds 8 months out of the year. Next, we head to the dying Delaware riverfront. This runs from Trenton to Camden, including all the dying industrial towns in between. Trenton is one place every New Jerseyan is contractually obligated to ignore. The bridge literally says, "Trenton makes, the world takes," which is the most passive-aggressive slogan in America. An entire city standing there with its arms crossed going, "You're welcome, by the way," after producing nothing anyone wanted since 1974. And then there's Camden, which spent so many years ranked the most dangerous city in the country that it should have gotten a plaque. Their big comeback plan was to build a gorgeous aquarium and a concert venue on the waterfront, engineered so suburban people could drive in, see Dave Matthews, and peel out of the parking lot at full speed without their tires or their eyes touching the actual city sitting 10 feet behind them. The whole place is designed like a haunted house you're not supposed to wander off in. These towns built America, made the steel and the soup and the rope, got famous, blew it, and are now mostly known for being the answer to a depressing trivia question. North Jersey points at them to feel better about itself. Next, we take a quick stop at the Bayshore, the backside of the Jersey Shore that nobody puts on a postcard. Keansburg, Keyport, South Amboy, the bay-facing towns where the water runs brown. The amusement park is held together with hope and rust, and the whole energy is the ocean was full, so we settled here. It's clam bars and fishing docks and a working-class honesty you will rarely find on the ocean side. This is the shore for people who can't afford the shore. And there's something kind of beautiful about that. Keansburg's been coming back for about 30 years now. We believe in you guys. Quietly. Right next door, we've got the McMansion Belt, Monmouth and Middlesex County money. This is where Springsteen and Bon Jovi live, up in Rumson and Colts Neck, behind the gates in horse country with the kind of old money that never brings it up. And then there's the new money, Marlborough and Manalapan, where the houses are enormous and beige and built in 2004. The cars are leased BMWs, and every kid is in 3 travel sports plus a tutoring program for a standardized test they take in 4 years. The dad's in construction or real estate or something he won't fully explain to you. The house has 2 staircases for no discernible reason. It's the American dream, assuming the American dream has a 3-car garage and a koi pond nobody asked for. Next, we're in Springsteen country, where the entire myth of New Jersey actually comes from. The working-class beach towns with screen doors and pizza sold by the slice. Asbury Park with the stone pony, where the boardwalk fell completely apart and then came roaring back, now home to some of the best nightlife on the shore and a real soul humming under all the gentrification. Belmar is where every 22-year-old from North Jersey goes to split a 6-bedroom rental with 14 people and black out at DJs. Long Branch cleaned itself up with Pier Village. Red Bank's got the nice downtown. This is Italian-American culture at maximum concentration. This is Jersey at its realest. Don't let the Bennies tell you any different. Just south is what is now known as Little Jerusalem. Everyone knows exactly what's going on here. We're going to briskly move on. Cross into South Jersey and you hit the Philadelphia suburb belt full of people who fled Philly decades ago, but tell people that they basically live in Philly when asked. They bleed Eagles green. They'd take a bullet for Wawa. It's a hoagie, not a sub. And down here it is pork roll, not Taylor ham. And that one distinction has ended real friendships. Haddonfield is bone dry. You cannot buy a drink anywhere in it, which the residents describe as charming and everyone visiting describes as a reason to leave by 9. Cherry Hill's entire personality is a mall and a property tax bill it won't shut up about. These people moved 20 minutes from Camden, drew an invisible line in the dirt, and have spent the last 40 years insisting they cannot smell it. Then there's the Pine Barrens, a million acres of scrub pine, cedar water, the color of iced tea, and people who don't believe in the Jersey Devil so much as they've personally given him directions. This is the part of the state where your GPS recalculates twice and then just stops talking to you out of fear. No cell signal, dirt roads that all look identical, and one unbreakable rule: you do not break down out here after dark because the tow truck takes 90 minutes and the guy who answers the phone sounds weirdly delighted. The Pineys have been here so long they predate the concept of New Jersey having an attitude problem, and they want nothing from you except for you to leave. There are entire ghost towns the forest ate, and right next to them, doomsday prepping rednecks who moved out here specifically so that when society collapses, nobody will think to look, sitting on 20 years of canned beans and an arsenal they describe with a straight face as for hunting. Every single person in this state has a friend who saw something out there once and gets weird and quiet the second you ask about it, which is either proof of the supernatural or proof that man should not be alone with that many trees. Keep going down and you hit deep South Jersey, which is, and I want to be precise here, basically Alabama. We're talking Salem and Cumberland counties. The accent picks up a drawl that does not make geographic sense. A man will say, "I reckon you ain't from round here," to you 40 minutes from Philadelphia, and mean it from the bottom of his heart. There is farmland to the horizon, a nuclear plant glowing on the river like nightlight for the damned, and a handful of toxic legacy sites everyone has politely agreed to file under "Don't drink the well water and we'll all be fine." Vineland is enormous and grows half the produce you've ever eaten while you've never once thought about it, and the whole region feels so rural it short-circuits the brain of anyone who thinks Jersey is just traffic and parking lots. Nobody down here is performing for you, posting for you, or thinking about you at all. They've got land, they've got pickup trucks older than your marriage, and they've got the kind of silence at night that would send a guy from Hoboken into a full psychiatric event by 9 p.m. Next up, the land of urban decay and vice's Atlantic City and the surrounding towns, a place that has been 2 years away from a comeback since before some of you were born. Casinos shaped like the worst decision a man ever made. A boardwalk where a couple celebrating their anniversary walks past a guy who just lost his car, and the lingering ghost of every casino that went belly up out here. The Revel cost $2.5 billion, opened, immediately repelled all human life, and closed faster than it took to build. A monument to a man's confidence exceeding his math. Behind the gleaming towers, the actual city is having a rough time in a way the neon is specifically designed to distract you from. But AC always thinks it's got one more comeback in it, like a 48-year-old fighter taking a meeting about a Netflix deal. And down the road in Margate sits Lucy the Elephant, a 6-story building shaped like an elephant, built in 1879 to sell real estate, still standing because everyone forgot to tear it down. And honestly, that's the most coherent thing this entire stretch of coast has ever done. On Long Beach Island and the Southern Shore is where Philadelphia comes to launder its self-esteem every summer. Ocean City calls itself America's greatest family resort, which is a bold thing to print on a town where you cannot legally buy a beer. And the line at Manco and Manco is less a line and more an hour-long personality test you didn't sign up for. Avalon and Stone Harbor are pastel mega houses, cooler by a mile on the bumper stickers, and BYOB restaurants where a periodontist in salmon shorts brings his own wine to a $90 plate of fish and feels like an outlaw doing it. The houses cost $4 million and get used 11 weeks a year, which is the financial planning of a species that does not fear death. And then there's Sea Isle, where those exact same families ship their college sophomores to get obliterated at the OD while mom and dad sit 4 blocks away with a Chardonnay insisting the kids are being responsible. It's the same family renting the same house every August for 30 straight years and calling it a tradition, which is the word rich people use when they mean a habit they're too comfortable to question. And at the very bottom of Jersey, 2 towns staring directly at each other across a few miles of sand, hating what they see. Cape May is Victorian bed and breakfasts, doily forward interior design, bird watching, and retirees in crisp linen sipping a Chardonnay at a volume that suggests they've already called the cops on you once today. It is a town that runs on antiques and quiet judgment. And right up the road, completely unbothered, sits Wildwood, the boardwalk tram car droning, "Watch the tram car, please," in a recorded voice that has been emotionally damaging children since the Kennedy administration. The biggest free beach on the coast, and a brand of glorious, sunburnt trashiness that Cape May pretends to be appalled by while privately thanking God it exists to absorb the people they'd never let into a bed and breakfast. One town is a cup of Earl Grey with the pinky out. The other is a warm Coors Light dropped in the sand, and somehow they need each other to make any sense at all. So that's Jersey. We hate it here together, we'd never live anywhere else, and we'll defend it to the death while personally believing it's a disaster.